Hello and welcome to this edition of Peace Talks. This is the little series that we do where we have a chat with the bands that are coming up to perform for us, music spoken here at the Mars Bar. And today I'm joined by Dan Lockheart, who's coming up to perform his Roots to Leaves suite, which we'll be talking about in this interview. So hi, Dan, and thanks for joining us today.
Hello, yeah, thanks for having me.
So this is a bit of a special show, I suppose, for Music Spoken Here, because this particular performance has come through a project that was set up by Jazz Central and Arnie Somergy. Arnie Somergy is a musician, Birmingham based now. He's actually a teacher at the Birmingham Conservatoire as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. So yeah, great bass player and good teacher as well.
Yeah, I was chatting with him the other day when he was playing with you up in Birmingham, and it reminded me that I think I saw him probably about 33 years ago. I used to live in Watford, and he played.
Right.
He played in there was a jazz club above my local pub in the Tudor. It's been going a long time. So yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
So this was a sort of project that was put together through Jazz Central and in association with Jazz Midlands, which is an organisation that Music Spoken Here is also a partner of. So could you tell us a little bit about that program, kind of how you got involved in it, and what?
Yeah, cool. So it was, So Arnie sort of, I think it was at a gig at Cherries, which is a night that's been going in Birmingham for a few years. He sort of came and spoke about it a bit at the end of one of the gigs. And yeah, there's the whole idea was you get choose from a huge list of mentors who you wanted to. There are people like Gareth the Crane, Soweto Kinch, Martin France. It's quite an extensive list, so a lot of choice. And then you also got a bit of money to go towards whatever project you were. And then it was good because it was a very simple application process. It was just sort of a 500-word project proposal. And then the main thing as well, it was specifically for graduates. So students who, obviously, the idea was that it would support graduates who had recently graduated or been out doing their thing for a while, rather than students who already have some sort of financial or, educational support.
Right.
And for me, it was perfect because I just graduated. I didn't really know what I was doing. So to actually get it was really great because it gave me a sort of quite strong sense of direction of what I was going to do, sort of artistically immediately after college, which was really nice. Because I don't know, otherwise I would have just been sort of twiddling my thumbs and practicing occasionally.
Yeah. So your mentor was Alex Hitchcock.
So I chose Alex Hitchcock, mainly because he's someone I sort of admired for a while, and quite fancied having another horn player rather than a rhythm section player, just because, I just fancied it.
Yeah, cool. I've known Alex for a little while. He came up and played he was with Resolution 88 that we put on in November last year.
Cool.
So it'd be great to welcome him because he'll be playing with your quartet.
So he sort of got involved with playing all the music, and so we did first gig on about a week ago now was amazing. And yeah, he's a great guy, absolute monster horn player, and he's been really, really helpful actually with a lot of the sort of processes of creating a project and organizing it and performing it, and yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, that's great. So because your project Roots to Leaves is kind of like a follow-on from something you did previously, wasn't it? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I did a project for my fourth year, so sort of my final, almost like a dissertation, but it was an album of compositions for octet and poems as well. So that was the start of this sort of spoken word poetry thing, and it's been something I've always been interested in, especially at school. I loved writing poetry and creative writing and that sort of thing, but then didn't do it for a while, and then got really into hip hop. So and that sort of sparked my interest in writing words again. So what I did for that music, which is on Bandcamp, it's called Tree Speak Words EP. I'm pretty happy with it. It's great musicians, all great Birmingham musicians. But so what I did was I wanted it to be sort of based around my sort of favourite places where I grew up. And I grew up in Southampton, so we'd frequent the sort of New Forest and various other places in the South Coast. So at the start of the project, I just went out, spent two days on my own, just driving around, going to all these sort of childhood places in the New Forest and beaches and stuff, and would just sit and write and try and capture what it sort of felt like to be in these places with words, and then started writing music based on that. And sometimes I'd write some music that I really liked, but then the words didn't really fit, so I'd write something else to fit the music. But yeah, it was an interesting process, and I'm quite happy with how it all came together. So yeah, Roots to Leaves, which is sort of very similar sort of concept in a lot of ways, but a bit more specific in terms of specifically about the sort of life of a tree and how we can, as people, as humans, how we need trees and nature. We know it's our support network. Without it, we'd all be screwed.
Yeah.
And sort of how, the sort of similarities and comparisons that we can make between how we grow and develop and how a tree does. So it was five movements, which was seeds, roots, trunk, branches, leaves. And then what I did differently this time was I wanted all the poetry to come first. So I commissioned 2 poets to write something. I sent out a brief, sort of a very brief, sort of with some inspiration and sort of just putting my thoughts onto paper. And they sent their work back to me, and then I started writing music in response, which was I think it actually led to more effective creative process, because everyone was so different. And obviously I wrote most of the poetry myself, but the two that I commissioned other poets to do, it was cool because it was completely different to how I would have written. So the music as a result also different. But yeah, that's the sort of gist of the project. I'm quite happy with how it's all come together. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So as you mentioned, you performed this. There was a mini festival at the 1000 Trades in Birmingham last weekend, I think it was. Yeah. Where each of the projects were sort of showcased over the weekend. I got down there for the Sunday to see yours, so that was and it was a great concert, and it was also I think it's probably the first time that I've seen the spoken word being integrated into a whole, the whole theme of the whole the whole suite that you're producing, and I think it worked really well. I think in a way that sung lyrics don't have, I don't think that has the same sort of emphasis or the same sort of strength behind it. I think when you have the spoken word, it focuses you more, I think, on the actual the verbal thoughts, and then the music is then sort of complementing to that. So really,
I agree. I think in a way it's sort of, they almost, like jazz music or improvised music as a whole and poetry, spoken word, kind of go hand in hand, because they're both supposed to be, obviously you want something that's nice to listen to, but you also want something that's thought-provoking and actually gets you thinking about certain things, certain ideas. And actually, I tried to write music that's not too inaccessible, so because I feel like there's this thing now where with institutionalized jazz education, where everyone's writing music that's like, this is really complicated and hard and difficult, but then the only people that really enjoy that music, well, obviously there's always going to be exceptions, but really it's other musicians, right?
Yeah.
So I try and write music that's accessible for everyone, and I think the spoken word stuff really and adds another sort of level to that and makes it that much more accessible, and people realize, oh, like jazz isn't just what I, this preconceived notion I had from whoever
Yeah.
told me, or what I've heard in an elevator or something. It breaks beyond that, and hopefully opens people's eyes to the whole sort of umbrella of this music, because it's so broad, and there's something for everyone now, I think.
I mean, that's the thing that I'm really trying to sort of get across with music spoken here, and the sort of variety of acts that we have. Because jazz is such a big, broad world, and it is constantly evolving and absorbing other, cultural references and technology advances as well. And as that changes,
Yeah,
so it's and like you say, there's a lot of sort of preconception around jazz, and trying to get people in the door the first time when you got sort of use the word jazz, it's kind of a bit
yeah,
reluctant to come in, but yeah, it's a rewarding job to do, is to get people to hear it for the first time, come along for
yeah,
one
of
night, and they
course.
go, oh, this is quite good actually, what else you got on? So
Mm.
yeah, really pleased that you're sort of you got those elements to the music as well. So yeah, what's the lineup then? Who else have you got with you coming up on Thursday?
So of course we've got Alex Hitchcock on tenor saxophone, myself tenor soprano, a little bit of flute, and then our good friend, amazing guitar player, Torrin Davies,
Yeah, he's brilliant.
drummer called Jono Gaze, who I've been playing with for years, and a bass player called Josh. I mean, the rhythm section we've all been playing together for quite a while, and they all played on the last EP, so that's why I booked them again for this, because they sort of know the vibe, and the sort of aesthetic that I'm after, and they're all like wicked musicians, and you make best music when you're playing with your friends, really. That's when it becomes organic, and you can communicate without having to say things and
Yeah,
use words, you know.
yeah. I think there's you got some videos on your YouTube channel. If you're watching this, Dan Lockhart's YouTube channel, there's I think there's a couple of videos from the
Yeah, I've
on-set
got a
performance
few. Yeah,
previously.
yeah. It's just, I think it's just Dan Lockhart music, just all one word. Yeah, I've got a couple from previous gigs. I need to upload some from the gig at Trades. And yeah, and I've also got my EP on Bandcamp, which you can listen to at Bandcamp/Dan Lockhart.
Cool. So is there plans to record Roots to Leaves?
Yeah, so this is what Alex has sort of mostly been talking to me about.
Excellent.
He's so busy, obviously, because he's touring constantly. But the times we have spoken, we've talked about competition and sort of momentum, how to write music that goes somewhere. Also talking a lot about the sort of nitty gritty hustling side of being a freelance musician, which is actually the most difficult bit. Like, booking rehearsals is a nightmare when everyone's busy and everyone has their own stuff going on.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, getting gigs is not easy. So he sort of helped me how to write, good emails or whatever, and the best ways to go about that. And then applying for funding, we talked about. So the plan now is to apply for funding to record this next bit of work that I've just finished. Roots to Leaves, record it properly, and then a couple other tunes as well, and then use the album to sort of as a springboard to get the Arts Council funding and do the whole UK tour. So that's what I'm looking at over the next year or two. Really sort of pushing this thing further, carrying on with the momentum I've sort of built over the last 5 or 6 months. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we're really looking forward to welcoming you to the Mars Bar.
Yeah, I can't wait.
On Thursday.
Great.
And yeah, enjoy the rest of your week until then, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, see you. Bye.